Humans have always been driven by a desire to explore, discover, and understand the world and beyond that surrounds us. This curiosity is an integral part of our nature, propelling us to push boundaries and achieve remarkable feats. In this spirit of exploration, NASA and its partners are preparing for a historic mission back to the moon. After 2 test missions, Artemis III, currently slated for 2026, will see humanity return to the lunar surface for the first time in over 50 years. This mission will be groundbreaking as it will involve the first human exploration of the region near the lunar South Pole. But how? Let's find out. NASA's Artemis program isn't just about reliving the glory days of Apollo, it's about setting up a lasting presence on the moon. This means building bases in lunar orbit and on the moon's surface. But first, NASA aims to get humans back on the moon by the mid-2020s. Artemis I, the first mission in this program, launched in November 2022. It was an uncrewed mission that tested the SLS, or Space Launch System, in the Orion module. Artemis I traveled 450,000 kilometers to the moon, orbited just 130 kilometers above its surface, and then ventured 64,373 kilometers into deep space. After 25 and a half days, it returned to Earth, splashing down in the Pacific Ocean near California. This mission carried several science and technology experiments to expand our knowledge of the moon and deep space. It also included 3 mannequins or moonikins, dressed in the same spacesuits that future astronauts are going to wear. These provided critical data on the conditions humans will experience. Special passengers, Shaun the Sheep and Snoopy, also made the journey, with Snoopy floating outside the Orion capsule. Despite a few launch delays due to engine issues and storms, Artemis I successfully lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center on November 16, 2022. The SLS rocket generated an impressive 8.8 million pounds of thrust, making it more powerful than the Saturn V rockets used in the Apollo missions. The spacecraft performed a lunar flyby, orbited the moon, and set a record for the farthest distance traveled by a spacecraft designed for humans. It then used the moon's gravity to slingshot back to Earth, proving the system's readiness for future crewed missions. The next mission, Artemis II, will be the first crewed flight. Scheduled for September next year, it will take a 4-person crew 8,889 kilometers beyond the moon before returning to Earth. This mission will take 8 to 10 days, testing the Orion module and its life support systems. Preparation for Artemis II are well underway, with testing on the Orion module and the SLS core stage ongoing. Artemis II will be a pioneering crewed spaceflight for the Artemis program, taking humans farther than they've ever been in space. After getting launched on the SLS rocket, the crew will fly the Orion module to perform a lunar flyby, then come back to Earth. The mission will collect valuable flight test data on the Orion module and its capabilities, including its life support systems. The European service module for the mission was completed and handed over to NASA in 2023, and testing is underway on the Orion module. Artemis III, planned for September 2026, aims to land humans on the moon for the first time since Apollo 17. This mission will use the Orion spacecraft to transport the crew in SpaceX's Starship for the lunar landing. Before the crew launch, SpaceX will send a storage depot and reusable tankers to fuel the Starship. The crew will dock with the Starship in lunar orbit, and 2 astronauts will descend to the moon's surface while the other 2 remain in orbit. The target landing area is around the moon's south pole, a region that promises exciting scientific discoveries despite its challenging conditions. NASA's Orion spacecraft will be the crew's ride to and from Earth and into and out of lunar orbit. Orion's the only spacecraft capable of returning crews to Earth at lunar re-entry velocities. On the successful Artemis I mission, Orion's uniquely designed heat shield was tested under these extreme re-entry conditions. 4 astronauts will depart from Launch Pad 39B at Kennedy Space Center in Florida atop the SLS, the only rocket powerful enough to send Orion, its crew, and their supplies to the moon in a single launch. The crew will be selected from among the most diverse astronaut corps in history, each equipped with unique skills and intensively trained. First, the crew will launch to Earth orbit, where they will perform system checks and solar panel adjustments on Orion. Then, a powerful push from SLS's interim cryogenic propulsion stage will help Orion perform a trans-lunar injection maneuver, setting its course to the moon. For several days, the crew will travel toward the moon and perform corrective engine burns to intercept the moon's gravitational field. At the right time and location, Orion will perform a series of 2 engine burns to place the spacecraft in a lunar near-rectilinear halo orbit, NRHO. From hundreds of potential orbits, NASA selected NRHO to achieve long-term Artemis goals. NRHO will provide near-constant communications with Earth and access to sites all over the moon. Because it is gravitationally balanced between Earth and the moon, this orbit will maximize fuel efficiency. On future missions, NASA and its partners will assemble the Gateway Lunar Space Station in NRHO to serve as a hub for Artemis missions. NASA has selected SpaceX to provide the human landing system that'll transport Artemis III astronauts from Orion and lunar orbit to the surface of the moon and back again. SpaceX plans to use a unique concept of operations to increase the overall efficiency of their lander. After a series of tests, SpaceX will fly at least one uncrewed demo mission that lands Starship on the lunar surface. When Starship has met all NASA's requirements and high standards for crew safety, it'll be ready for its first Artemis mission. Before the crew launch, SpaceX will launch a storage depot to Earth orbit. A series of reusable tankers will carry propellant to the storage depot to fuel the human landing system. The uncrewed Starship human landing system will then launch to Earth orbit and rendezvous with the storage depot to fill its tanks before executing a trans-lunar injection engine burn and traveling approximately 6 days to NRHO, where it will await the Artemis III crew. When both spacecraft have arrived in NRHO, Orion will dock with the Starship human landing system in preparation for the first lunar surface expedition of the 21st century. Once the crew and supplies are ready, 2 astronauts will board the Starship and 2 will remain in the Orion. Orion will undock and back away from Starship to remain in NRHO for roughly 1 orbit around the moon, lasting about 6.5 days. This will match the length of the surface expedition, so as Orion completes its orbit, the 2-person surface crew will finish their work on the surface in time to launch back up to meet the spacecraft. NASA has its sights set on locations around the South Pole for the Artemis era of human lunar exploration. Extreme contrasting conditions make it a challenging location for Earthlings to land, live, and work. But the region's unique characteristics hold promise for unprecedented deep space scientific discoveries. Using advanced technology, including autonomous systems, the crew inside Starship will land at a carefully selected site within a 100-meter radius. After landing on the moon, the first thing the surface crew will do is check that all their systems are good to go for their stay. Once that's done, they'll take some time to rest, eat, and recharge for their first full day of work. While they're on the moon, the astronauts will be busy with scientific research inside the Starship, and will also head out for a few moonwalks to explore the surface. They'll put on advanced spacesuits provided by Axiom Space, exit through an airlock, and use Starship's elevator to get down to the surface. These new suits will allow them to move more freely and cover more ground than ever before. During their moonwalks, the astronauts will take pictures and videos, study the geology, collect samples, and gather other important data. The view from the lunar South Pole will be quite different from the old Apollo mission photos, which were taken near the moon's equator. With the sun just above the horizon, long shadows will stretch across the landscape, and the crew will use headlamps and navigational tools to explore. All the data and samples they collect will help us learn more about the South Pole region, the moon, and our solar system. Meanwhile, mission control teams on Earth will stay in touch with the crew, who will share their experiences in real time. Thanks to advanced communication technology, they'll send high-quality images and videos back to Earth, giving everyone a chance to see and feel what it's like to be on the moon. After their mission on the moon is complete, the 2 astronauts will lift off in the Starship to join their crewmates in Orion at the near-rectilinear halo orbit, NRHO. They'll spend up to 5 days in orbit, transferring samples and getting ready for the trip back to Earth. When it's time to leave, all 4 astronauts will board Orion, undock, and fire its engines to sling past the moon and head home. They'll re-enter Earth's atmosphere at around 24,850 miles an hour and splash down in the Pacific, assisted by 11 parachutes. The U.S. Coast Guard and Navy will be on hand to retrieve them in the spacecraft. Artemis III is a huge leap in deep space exploration. The data, samples, and observations from this mission will help us understand more about our solar system and Earth while inspiring future explorers. This mission sets the stage for regular human visits to the moon and paves the way for human missions to Mars. What's next for Artemis? Artemis IV in 2028, scheduled to launch that September, has a mission that will send a crew to the International Habitation Module IHAB to the Lunar Gateway. The power and propulsion element and habitation and logistics outpost will launch ahead of time. The Artemis IV crew will then use the Human Landing System to explore the Moon and return to Earth in Orion. Artemis V for 2030 is expected to launch in March 2030. This mission will send 4 astronauts to the Lunar Gateway and deliver new elements to the station. 2 astronauts will then land near the lunar South Pole using the Blue Moon lunar lander and explore with an unpressurized lunar rover. They will then return to Earth in Orion. Artemis VI 2031. Planned for March 2031, this mission will integrate the Crew and Science Airlock module with the Gateway and complete the 4th crewed lunar surface expedition. This airlock is currently being constructed by the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. The crew will use the Human Landing System to explore the Moon and then return to Earth and Orion. Each Artemis mission builds on the last, increasing our knowledge, improving operations, and providing technology for future human missions to Mars. The journey's just begun, and with each step, we are getting closer to reaching new frontiers in space exploration. We're committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and smash that bell icon for more visionary builds.